Welcome back. Welcome back. We are back. This is the closing table. I am James Garman.
This is Daniel White. It's the last Monday of March. Unbelievable.
Man, it's
Unbelievable.
crazy. Time is flying already, bro. And if you're not on your game, if you're not on your, what I would like to say, your top notch, you need to get on your top notch because the year is moving pretty fast.
Yeah, if
And
you haven't hit your first quarter goals, you better get on it.
you know what? I hit my first quarter goals, bro. I hit my first quarter goals. I'm very proud of myself right now. What about you?
No, the same, my friend. The same. Yeah, absolutely. It's going as planned. There's a couple little tweaks here for the next quarter rush here, but all in all, yeah. I mean, successful in what I wanted to do in making things happen. So that's awesome to hear you as well.
Yes, man. Yes, congratulations on all your success this first quarter. I know your second quarter going to be even greater. Before we get into it, heads up, there is a rare alignment of 5 planets that will be visible in the night sky. This week, after Tuesday evening, your best bet to be able to see this beautiful alignment is after sunset. If you go outside when when it's really dark, you can look to the west of wherever you are, and you can kind of see. I think it's Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, and Uranus. All will appear in a line, and yeah, it's an arc shape. That it'll be pretty much a crescent moon available to see as well. I forget which star that is on the flag where there's the symbol where there's the crescent moon and then there's a star. Is that the Iranian flag?
James, I do not know, but I am impressed that you come base with that knowledge right off the beginning here, because I was disappointed on Saturday. There was supposed to be an asteroid that was between the moon and Earth, and you were supposed to be able to see it, but of course, it was cloudy as hell for us.
I mean, that may be what I seen, because I thought it was a star, but it was like a crescent moon, and it was like angled. That's why I thought it may have been the Iranian flag. You know how they have the crescent moon.
I got
you. Yeah. So again, my knowledge on astrology may be a little shaky.
It was Saturday, James. It was Saturday. It's supposed to be. It was like I think we're like 28 million miles away or whatever. It was supposed to be almost. It wasn't direct center between Earth and it was like 110 million miles from Earth, something like that. So.
That's crazy.
And 114 from the moon or whatever. So that'd been cool, man. I'm assuming you didn't take any pictures, right? But I guess I could go online and figure it out.
So, I try to stay away from my technology as much as possible when I can. So our other house that we're selling, that's one thing I will miss about the house is the view from the master. The view from the master is like the most beautiful thing like you can ever see in nature. The moon is always right in your master window. Like every time I just look out, even from the bed where the bed was positioned, it's just beautiful. But I'm gonna miss that most of all.
Gotcha. James, you haven't sold it yet, man. You need a realtor.
Haven't even put it on the market yet. I actually had a friend to come by and take a look at it Saturday. They came by, took a look at it, see if they wanted to purchase it for us before we went to market, and they gave us an offer. But I don't know if I really like the offer right now. So we'll think about it.
So, friend, if you're watching, what you should be, the offer's too low. You need to raise the price.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but yeah, if you want to see that, make sure you go out there Tuesday evening after sunset, and you can be able to catch that beautiful glance of the aligning planets, which again is Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus. But yeah, overall, man, I think it was a great weekend. You have a good weekend.
I did. I had a really good weekend. You know how it goes, my friend. It's never long enough, but it was very productive, business wise, for family reasons, all that good stuff as well, man. And I have to say that I'm super excited. I know this is off record because we talk more real estate, financial, business crashes, movements, all that good stuff on the here, but. I do have to give a shout out to the Miami Hurricanes college basketball team for making the final next Tuesday. That's pretty exciting. As a Hurricanes fan, that's a first time ever in school history. So we'll see what happens in 8 days.
Oh, that's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. Wow, Hurricanes made it to the finals. Can't
To the
believe
finals,
it.
man, like championship game. It was unbelievable. And it was kind of nice because the wife was watching as well. And she's not a big sports fan, but she was she was supporting me as we were down 13 points. She's like, yeah, they're doing okay. I'm like, they're not doing good.
They're not doing good. Well, listen,
But
man.
I'm like, thank you for having my back, love. Thank you for having my back.
Well, listen. I must say, overall, when it comes to the Hurricanes, the football team is trash now. I mean, they went from being the most dominant football team in sports history for a while. Now they're being overshadowed in ACC by other teams like Florida State and the Gators. But I mean, at least y'all are shining. Again, in basketball. So again,
Uh,
congratulations.
yeah, I'm James. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think you got like Georgia Tech or something up there. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave
Hey,
it at that.
hey,
Okay.
first of all, I'm a North Carolina fan, man. So
Okay. All right.
I'm a NC fan, bro.
All right. All right. All right. Well, we'll have to see what happens next year. But yes, it's been a long time since a football team for the Miami Hurricanes has like put a smile on our face, because they'll put a smile on our face and then they'll disappoint us for 3 weeks. So it's been a tough ride, but it's still fun, still exciting for those guys, and hopefully they pull it out and continue to grind.
Indeed, indeed. Let's get into some real talk, man. Some real business. The world, man. The world is in chaos. I try not to push the fear tactic too much on our people. I always want to make sure we give them the silver lining of hope. But there's a lot going on in the world, right now. If you haven't been keeping up and you haven't been following me and Daniel's approach to this chaos when it comes to these banking crises, then you've been missing out on a lot. I must say, you've been missing out on a whole lot of drama. And if you look at it from a perspective of a micro versus the micro doesn't look so bad. The micro
James,
just look like a bank.
Saturday and Sunday, every time we turned around, every like 5 hours, there was somebody else posting about another bank or a potential meeting and all of that stuff. It's
But
ridiculous.
again, like, how should we take that at face value? Should we be looking at this as actual, crisis, or just people pushing fear factors? Are people just pushing fear factors amongst the American people, causing more, hysteria and more chaos to cause people to be on edge even more? I mean, we can
Is
talk
somebody trying
about.
to scare everybody to go to their banks and then just pull out all their money or whatever? Like,
I mean, think about it. It's not the first time that would happen. Like, look
Yep.
how many people can benefit from that happening. Look how many doomsday preppers who's been pushing for an economy to, be disrupted. You have, and before we even get into a lot of the conversation we're going to have today, I've been watching Robert Kiyosaki, and this morning when I was watching Robert Kiyosaki, I had a epiphany. I don't know if it was an epiphany or more of an awakening, but once I was listening to his context, it sounded to me more as if Mr. Kiyosaki is pushing a more of a deflated U.S. agenda versus a supportive U.S. agenda. So it's always pressing on how bad America is, even though he lives here and he's a citizen. But it seems to me now that a
Made
lot of the
lots of money here from us.
huh?
Made lots of money here from us.
Made lots of money, and now it seems like he's pressing more of an agenda to help other countries see America in a bad light. Again, okay, don't get me wrong, I know our American dollar isn't as strong as it used to be, and again, I do believe in having gold and silver as a currency, as a backup currency. But I think the amount of pressure that he applies to shitting on America as a whole kind of gives the rest of the world, because we have to realize now we're in a digital society. Our digital society allows everybody from everywhere to see content and to be knowledgeable of what's going on around the world, right? But if we get to talking about the BRICS, which is again Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and South Africa, we see that they have formed an alliance that would be considered a powerhouse, today. And they are now looking to possibly attack, at some point in the future. And I think people like Robert Kiyosaki are giving them more ambitious power to feel like to move forward and actually press whatever agenda they have to
Motivating
press.
them, like pushing them, like you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, right?
Yeah, in
It's
more of a subtle way, more
yeah,
of a subtle way,
yeah.
not a direct like, bricks, step up and take over, and we're gonna use, like, but it's kind of like a slow roll. It's a slow rolling process to, enforce other people to back that, notion.
James, but they never have a solution, right? Like I never watched one of their videos where they're like, "Look, this is what America needs to do," right?
You
Like
right.
never ever do you see that. It's like fear, fear, fear. I never looked at it that way, but now thinking about it, and I'm listening to all his podcasts and his short clip videos and all that, and I'm like, right, man, it's all like, I could have told you this, I told you that was coming,
Yep.
yeah, it's
So it's pushing that fear. Like it's no different than, everybody believing in what the Bible say the, apocalypse is. So if everybody believes the apocalypse is coming, then sooner or later we're going to manifest that apocalypse. And again, if people believe a housing crisis is coming or is here, then we're going to manifest a housing crisis. We're going to manifest a bank run if 90% of people believe that the banks are failing. So we're
it gives some people an excuse, James, why not to buy, why not to invest in the bank, why not to put my money into the bank and all that stuff. I mean, that's what I see and I hear when people talk about it. It's like, yeah, the housing market's crashed, it's dropped, it's not as popular, there's not many offers. And to be honest, I'm just kind of tired of hearing that, guys.
I am too.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to make the best of every single situation that you run across. And if you don't, then you get left behind, right? Like these that don't want to buy a house, it's more of an excuse of reasoning, but they want to go and pay $2,500 a month on rent, so, or live in an apartment complex for the last 10 years of their lives. Come on.
And that's another crazy thing about this whole situation as well. The conflicting structure of how some people look at the housing market and how some people don't look at the housing market at all. Like there's some people out there that are going to purchase at 7% interest rate. We just not too long hit 7%. There's going to be people who don't care about the interest rates. Sometimes that 7% is a inflated number as well, because not everybody has bad credit. Not everybody has a shitload of debt. A lot of people can afford 20% down, 30% down. Like the housing market isn't crashing for everyone. It's crashing for the middle class, the lower middle class. I like to put the middle class in tiers. I think the middle class deserves its own 3 tiers. The lower, the middle, and the high middle class. So okay, again, there's a lot of unwealthy people in the world that are going to not benefit from this market, but there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be as subdued by the market to say, well, I'm not going to buy right now. Okay, we're in a market right now where it's kind of I think it's a buyer's market. The buyers are having a lot of ability to negotiate down on their properties, on their asking price, on their buy downs and everything of that nature.
100%, James.
So
there's no way in there's not anyone out here in this profession that can't say that it's not a buyer's market, or that this market hasn't crossed over the line and sided more with buyers compared to sellers months ago, right? Like it's just, there's no way. I mean, the evidence is right here. We're writing deals, and the best thing you can do right now is help your buyers out with whether it's closing costs, whether it's extended periods on inspection periods and stuff like that. That was not normal. Like we were writing contracts with 0 inspection days, like scary stuff. Like, are you sure you want to sign this contract with a 0 inspection and you want to pay $40,000 more than asking price?
right. So how did we go from that to now it's a scary time to buy? It was a scary time to buy. It was a scary time to buy what? 8-9 months ago when things was crazy. So like that whole notion to me seems to be a little over.
Well, I mean, James, I think a lot has to do with it is that the dust has settled, as I say, right? 8, 9 months ago when rates went from 2.83% up to 4, 5, 4, 7, then 5 and 5.2. I think it takes people a little while to understand, like, okay, hey, this is the norm, or hey, this is the direction we are heading in. Because I always look at, like, you look at the middle of November, December, and stuff like that in the market. Those are tough times, regardless if it's a buyer's or a seller's market. You've got Halloween the 31st. You've got Thanksgiving. You've got Christmas coming up. From Thanksgiving to 2 days or a day before Christmas, if you're like me, it's probably an hour before Christmas. You're purchasing your last couple of gifts or whatever it is. Like, you are not focused. Most people are all focused on getting to that holiday and finishing it. So those months in the market are tough to come up with numbers because they're always messed up a little bit. But you look at January, February, March, you've been active in the market. Interest rates I have seen on some of the deals. The best one I've seen, but he has an 820 credit score, was 5.2. Everything else has probably been between 5.8, 6.5 is what I've seen. But I think Thursday, Friday, did we see 7%?
Yeah, 7%.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, I think what people are failing to realize at this point is that the overall mechanics behind purchasing a house isn't always the interest rate. Like, one of the favorite sayings is that you're dating the interest rate and you're marrying the house, right? Again, people, you can refinance at any time. Is this market going to stay at this point forever? No. I mean, the new interest low may be 5%. Maybe that's the new interest level low. So for me, I'm looking at the market as, why are we pushing this fear factor? Why are we pushing all of this chaos? People like my sister, who's purchasing her first house, when she hears secondary people who never purchased a house and just listen to the news or listening to things that are being said because of what people think, she become afraid to purchase now it's like, oh, I'm gonna wait, and every time you wait, you're missing out on an opportunity to go ahead and jump in there and start building that equity. So again, you can continue to rent, you can continue to wait, you can continue to sit on your hands and think that it'll be a better time next summer, next winter. You never know when it's a great time to buy. No one can predict the housing market to any extent. If we are in a housing bubble right now, if we are, and I'm assuming we're not, that's just my personal perspective, it doesn't matter if you buy or not. If you can afford it, then don't lose your job. People like to say getting out of debt, and one of the things we're going to be talking about, your biggest problem isn't debt. Your biggest problem isn't debt. Your biggest problem is you overspending. That's your biggest problem. But when it comes down to it, when people want to get out of debt, what they try to do, what's one of the first things they try to do, Daniel?
James, really quick, before we even go farther, you hit a note right there. Most people that you talk to, right, that are saying, oh, I'm going to wait and see what happens in the interest rates. Their conversation 10 months ago was, oh, it's too crazy out there. I'm not going to mess with all those offers. I'm not even going to put my offer into the hat here, right? You know what I'm saying? And now, excuse me, now the fear is, well, interest rates are going up and, it's just going to be too expensive. I'm going to say, if you keep telling yourself that, you 100% are going to be left behind. You do not have to go out there and purchase your forever home, right? Like, purchase something, build your equity, continue to go. Like James said, we are marrying the house. We are dating the interest rates. And right now, if you secure a loan at 6.5%, 7% or whatever it is, James, I think you're right. I think the norm probably is going to be somewhere between 4.75%, 5% is where I think it's going to be. When that happens, I don't know. Debt. Continue, my friend.
No. You're totally right. I mean, overall, the fear that we're pumping into our economy, into our society, is going to cause more chaos than we can actually expect. Yeah, there is people being laid off. Yeah, there's people losing their jobs. Yeah, there's people, there's banks closing. There's a lot of things happening right now. And again, as I mentioned a minute ago, on a micro scale, it doesn't look as bad. On a macro scale, if you put everything into perspective, well, shit can hit the fan. Overall, it can really hit the fan. But where are you in in that chaos? I
James, shit can hit the fan. How did Zoom lay off like I don't know, like 10% of their employees? Zoom should be like the best stock in the world right now. Like everybody's using Zoom now for the last
right
4 years, right?
Right. But the thing again, overinflated hiring, overinflated everything. Everything has its peak. I mean, we got to realize everything has its peak. The housing market has its peak. That's why it's a bubble, because once it peaks, it pops. And the ones who got in late are the ones who suffered the most, right? So
James, I love it. You segued into like what the notes and everything I wrote down, right? Because I talked about Zoom. We've heard about Google, we've heard about Apple, we've heard about all these jobs layoffs and all of that stuff, right? Just in the Florida market alone, and I'll just give you one, 7,500 realtors exited the state or non-renewed their license this last period.
Oh, wow.
Really? 75. Maybe I said that wrong. 75,000. I think I said 7,500. 75.
That's even worse. You mean 75,000 realtors exit the market and didn't renew their license?
Yeah. Crazy, man.
What market?
Florida market.
Florida market. Wow.
You ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead. Hit me with those numbers, bro.
60% of loan officers. So again, loan officers. So I'm not sure you know best if loan officers are considered processors as well, because some of them may have those licenses.
Yeah.
But 60% of those officers did not renew their license.
That means, you know what that means to me when I hear those numbers? That can mean two things. That can mean that we are in a housing crisis and we could be facing a potential bubble and people aren't being able to get loans and mortgages. But it also could mean this: you sucked at your freaking job. You sucked at your career. You didn't know how to market. You didn't know how to put yourself out there and get business. You were afraid of the competition, so you exited. Listen, one thing I'll say, we talk about this on our podcast as well, Daniel, a lot. Not everybody is meant to make it as a self-employed. First of all, you are self-employed, but again, what you're working towards is become self-made or entrepreneur in any of these fields, right? People who are loan officers or who stay loan officers, and that's it, versus working towards building your own brokerage, working towards building your own, just your own company. They end up living check to check. And if you understand, that's a lot of money to be made in real estate. There's a lot of money to be made in the mortgage company. These people who came into the market when the market was easy. When I say an easy market, we're talking about the COVID markets, the pandemic markets, when things were flying off the shelf and you didn't even have to do anything. Your description on your real estate listing could say buy now before it's gone. That's it. Nothing else. Not it's a beautiful home.
It's just because it happened to me. I'm on my way home to list this house.
I'm on my way to list this house. You better buy it. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was so easy to make money, for some realtors, that all you had to do was pick up the phone and the people was just saying, yes, list. But now you actually have to be a realtor. You actually have to be a mortgage broker. You actually have to fight and be a competitive person. Not everybody has that DNA. That's why a lot of these 75,000 just in your market has faded, because the real realtors stood strong. The people who actually build a legitimate business are the ones who continue to make waves in this market.
James, that's why I said partners that we have, team members that we have, employees that we have, family members that we have, right? Like I said it in the beginning, one of the biggest things that you can do at this moment right now in any business, like any career that you have that's going on, right? It is time to educate yourself on that business and be prepared, because my wife is going to love this. And I think I've said this before. She always tells me, she's like, everything's in a circle, babe. Everything's in a circle. It comes back around. It comes back around. It cycles through, and it will, right? Like, so we performed well in the previous market. We had a good run, but guess what? We didn't prepare prior to that run. Well, that won't happen again this time for us because we had a good run. We're going to have a great run when it comes because we are educating, we are motivating partners, we are telling them how to market yourself. You make a deal, spend some money on yourself, right? Like get yourself out there, be those agents when people talk about who they're going to list, who they're going to buy their house with and stuff like that. It's with Elite Listing Group, right? Like that's who it is. Those are the guys, those are the men and women that are putting in the work right now. So whatever your business is, I don't care if it's detailing cars, cleaning offices, whatever it is, educate yourself, prepare because it will turn around.
Yes, it has to turn around. Like that's exactly what the life cycle is. Everything reaches its peak. Some things go over the cliff, plummet head first. But there we have too many sectors in the world. Right now they're saying the tech sector is going to, pretty much be affected because the banks are closing. They're saying, the housing market is affected because interest rates are so high. Okay, let's say for instance, all of these things do run its course, and all of these things so happen to kind of plummet at the same time. What does that create? That creates an opportunity. Opportunities come from chaos. Casualties create opportunities. Now, again, if you're not thinking in that mindset, that may sound pretty cruel. I have moral turpitude. I kind of understand exactly where I stand morally. But again, can I sit back and allow opportunities to not benefit me because something tragic happens to our economy? I can't sit back and just say, well, I'm not going to buy this house because someone allowed it to foreclose. I know I'm sorry. A person lost their job and this house has to go on the market. But if the house goes on the market and it just sit there and it, depreciates because no one's taking care of it, then that brings down the housing value of everything in that area as well. So why not be the one to come in and save that property so it can help your property stay afloat? As long as I can keep the property up and I came in and I bought it for pennies on a dollar, it helps your house 3 or 4 houses down the street keep its value. So you don't want people to benefit off of things like that, but this is the world we live in. If we don't take our opportunities when these things happen, then we allow our whole market to fail and we can't get it back. I don't want to become a Pakistan. I don't want to become an Iran. I want to stay where we are. I want to keep building.
Yeah, James, you're right. In purchasing a property like that changes the mindset of those around that property as well, right? Like they see the work that you put into it, stuff like that. Then they're going to take better care of their own property as well. And hopefully it changes their mindset because again, if they see a distressed property for a while, what are they? They're like, oh, I don't care. Then they don't care if something's in their yard or something's, somebody parks in their grass or whatever it may be. So when you purchase a property like that, then you start working on it. I've always run across it where the neighborhood, especially the houses around that house, have always come over and kind of talk, hey, how are things going? What are your plans? What are you doing? Again, they're being nosy and they want to know, right? Like what you're going to do. Are you going to rent it? Are you going to sell it? Whatever it is. But again, when they start seeing the transformation from a distressed property to a property that's like, wow, okay, that looks really good. You made some small modifications and now it's, the top house in the neighborhood. It elevates everyone else around that property to bring their A game as well. In most cases.
No, I totally agree. Either that or they're going to sell, right? Because they know their property value is going up. They're going to wait and sell like, oh, people are fixing up these neighborhoods. I know my property value is going to go up. So this is a good time for me to sell. My thing is, I think my biggest thing is when it comes to people right now, and the fear that they're pushing. Like right now, I just recently heard that investors are not buying, investors are bagging out of the market. Who said that? We work with investors. Like we work with investors that watch the market heavily, and they are not bagging out of building. They're not bagging out of purchasing more properties than land lots because it's beneficial to what they do. It's if interest rates are high, we don't have to worry about interest rates because why? We have cash to purchase. Investors at that caliber are purchasing these properties with cash. They're not going out to get a mortgage on these properties. Makes no sense. They own the mortgage companies. You know, they own the mortgage companies. What they look like going in mortgage.
It was easy for them 18 months ago, 24 months ago, 36 months ago, right? It was zero. Like you could borrow money for zero. It was crazy.
And now that we add a few interest basis points to the market, now everybody's panicking. Oh, the world's coming to an end. No, it's not. You just got priced out of the market, and that's common. That's common. We all get priced out of something at some point. You know, have you ever been to an auction where you seen something you wanted to purchase and it was right in your price point, and as soon as it got beyond your price point, what happened? You gracefully bow out. You wait till the next opportunity comes. You wait till the next opportunity comes so you can jump into the market and get what you think you deserve. So I think that's where we are right now. And let's go back towards this debt situation right now, because right now people want to go to the banks, get more loans. You know, people want to figure out the best way to get out of debt. We're not in a time to get out of debt. This is not a time, maybe personally, I'm not your financial advisor, so don't hold me. But I don't think this is a time to be focusing on getting out of debt. Debt is not your biggest problem. What you got to say to that, Daniel?
I agree. You know, I mean, it right now it is the best time to plan. I do think, honestly, again, James and I both speak it. We are not financial advisors. I do think you need to have a game plan with your financial advisor. And sitting down with him or her and game planning and how you can come out on top of the mountain after this reset we are having.
So when it comes to the financial advisors, people like me and you, we can afford them. What about the people that can't afford their financial advisors or don't know who to go and talk to?
James, there's free advertisement. You could check a YouTube video. You could do your own research, right? Like there's way too many financial advisors out there with way too many channels and giving way too much advice, right? Like, again, safe bet. If you don't know, you don't want to speak to a financial advisor, you don't want to listen to a financial advisor, you can look at the money market accounts right now. You're getting 4%, whatever. If you put 100 grand in there, you know, you're making $400, right? Or James has said it all the time. You could go buy some silver. You could buy some gold and have an asset in your hand, tangible item that you can hold on to. And you know that value over time isn't going anywhere. It's staying there. So, yeah, you know, I don't want to hear that you can't afford it, because there's way too much free stuff out there right now.
I would agree. Real quick, I'm gonna go through these good mornings. I think we might have missed a few. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Cassie. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. Again, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell on that notification bell if you're on YouTube.
Yeah, what do they say? Just smash it. Just smash that button.
Just smash it. Smash the button. Make sure you jump in the comment section. We would love to hear what you have to offer this morning on these topics. Right now, if you're in the chat, I want to hear from somebody in the chat. Is debt your biggest problem right now? I want to know, is getting out of debt your biggest problem in this market? Because for me, I don't think debt is your biggest problem. Again, I think it's you. I think you are your biggest problem because we continue to garner more debt in a time where we should be focused on investing. We should be focusing more on some long-term investments, more like Daniel just reached out and said, and gold, silver, some tangible materials, So for me, I want to say, stop focusing on getting out of debt. How do you get out of debt? Most of us are $35,000 to $50,000 worth of debt anyways. Your car, the things you finance, your credit card debt, student loans. If Biden ever give us that student loan forgiveness of $20,000, that may help. But overall, a lot of us are in $30,000 to $50,000 worth of debt. How do we get out of that debt?
James, probably more than that if you're gonna put your house debt in too.
House isn't debt, man. House is positive debt. Yeah, we can't
positive debt. Somebody that paid $50,000, $100,000 more than what the house value was last year. Yeah, That's negative.
That's negative, especially for those people that went in over. Yeah. So yeah, you may be right on that one. But for me, I think a lot of people are considering consolidation right now. Like consolidation is the way to go. Consolidation doesn't help you. Consolidation just pretty much bundle the 50,000 into one. You still owe the 50,000. You don't get less debt from consolidating. You just put it all together. Like some people may even be thinking about taking out a HELOC right now. I don't think taking out a HELOC is the way to go. I don't think a HELOC is the way to go because now you're just taking your debt, you're taking away from your equity in your house to get rid of other crap. I don't think that's the way to go. And I think when you had a
And don't
conversation,
purchase a HELOC. Don't get a HELOC, James, and then go buy a boat.
I was just about to bring that up. I was just about to bring it up.
Or take this extravagant family vacation. Like I want to go to Hawaii, right? Like, and I know right off the bat, if I go to Hawaii with me, the wife, the kids, grandma, whomever, right? That's $12,000-$15,000 for 10 days. Easy, man. Easy, right? Like, don't get a HELOC and then go take that vacation, right? Don't do that. Don't do that.
But
I can take $10,000 and go buy some gold and silver, invest in art, whatever you want to do, right? Maybe
totally
take $300 and go speak to a financial advisor
and let them tell you what not to do, right?
Yeah, if I tell you to like close that, leave that alone.
Because it makes no sense to me that people would take out those type of loans to try to get rid of other types of debt. Like it doesn't get rid of your debt. It doesn't. It just moves money around, and it may lower your interest, but interest isn't also your biggest issue. Just the fact that you overspend is your biggest issue. People overspend for no reason in these hard times, quote unquote hard times. I feel like right now there's more people making more money than people like to shine light on. Like I know some realtors right now that just made literally $100,000 in the last quarter. Easy. Not hard, easy. So how is things so hard when you have people still making this type of money? It's your work ethic. If you got $50,000 worth of debt, if more, even less, you should get another job. You should find out a way to make more money. Not spend more money, but just to make more money. Focus on the smaller debts and get out of the smaller debts. Because right now the banks aren't loaning money. The banks are not loaning money. If they do, then you already know those interest rates are super high. So why even go get a new credit card?
James, they don't have any money to give right now.
Right about
everybody's pulled it out. I mean, there's lines at ATMs, right? Like the ATMs are saying that this machine is broken. Yeah, the machine is not broken. The internet is not down. It's empty.
It's empty. It's empty is what it is. So yeah, like honestly, if whatever extra money you're having at the end of the month, whatever extra money you're getting, put it in something tangible, gold, silver. And again, if we look at our history in 1964, they took out all of the gold or actual silver in our coins. Like you look at a quarter now, like I said, it's been a while since I had tangible money. But if you look at a quarter now, people are still like to say, hey, it's a silver quarter. It's not a silver quarter. It's nickel. This thing is plated. This is not an actual, silver quarter. We haven't had those things in years. And if you do get an actual silver quarter, guess what? You're going to buy them in those commemorative packages where they're giving you one quarter for $30 because it's real silver.
James, do you buy them?
Yes, we have some. Yes,
you buy them. Okay, no, I mean that's good. Like people see that, like you see it in a magazine, you get all the script and all that stuff. I mean, it's worth it, right? Like at the end of the day, it's $30. You're gonna go to your local grocery store and only want a gallon of milk and a carton of eggs, and you're gonna end up spending $80.
Easy. So that could easily got you 2 actual silver quarters. Like right now, what people is failing to realize, they even have some monthly subscriptions to buy gold. You can literally spend $30 a month to buy 2.5 grams of gold, little gold bars. Again, we talked about this. The little gold bars, I'd rather have those versus the big bricks, but you can spend right now $30-$40. And once you reach your capacity of the gold price, they'll send you your little grams of gold. But why not do that? Why not take all of that bogus ass nickel in quarters and dimes and go take all of that and swap it in for some actual silver.
James just gave everybody a golden nugget. Take that nugget and run with it.
That's all I can do, man, is give nuggets. And I wish I can give you some gold nuggets, some actual gold nuggets. But guess what? You have to pay for those. And 2.5 grams is going to cost you about $250, which is a good deal right now. Gold could possibly hit $2,000, so an ounce. So you may want to start focusing on investing your money in that capacity right now. Right now. Start focusing on that right now. But yeah, man, overall, like if you could get out of debt today, but you have to go broke to do it, would you?
No, there's too much to buy.
Like, what you mean is too much to buy? What you mean? What would you buy?
Like if let's say that I was $50,000 in debt and I had $100,000 and I was like, okay, I'm going to pay my $50,000 off and then save my other 50,000. I'd go and invest I'd go purchase a property or something like that, create passive income and then pay it off that way.
Why do we not involve our families anymore? When it comes to those collective, situations. I think one thing other countries have garnered is that when we have that type of debt, right? Like say I have 50,000. I'm gonna use your scenario, and I want to buy a passive income property. Why not go to 2 or 3 of my family members who also probably be in the same boat? But hey, let's not worry about spending $1,000 or a couple $100 here a month. Let's take that money and let's go purchase a passive income property together. I think a lot of different countries, a lot of other ethnicities have figured that out, because I do think we're spoiled in America. I think we have this individuality in America where I have to do it on my own, but we don't get as far on our own.
James, you are absolutely 100% sitting here listening to it. I'm thinking about it. Those are my thoughts exactly. It's all about the individual. It's not until you start working with teams, partners, family members, and expand your horizon is when you really take that next step and you elevate yourself to that next level. I just think that there's too many individuals, one-minded. I'm going to do it before James does it. I'm going to do it on my own, and then I'm going to talk about it, right? And that's fine if that's who you want to be. But the ones that are really out there kicking it in high gear and taking it to that next level, then once they hit that level, taking it to the next level, they surround themselves by greatness. They're not doing it by themselves.
They're not doing it by themselves.
And I don't know what that age is, right? Like I'm sure we've talked about it. You talk to your daughter, not like she's 16, 17, 18 years old. You talk to her in a mindset where 25 to 30, right? Simply because you want to bridge that gap from, I don't want you to live paycheck to paycheck. Exactly. I don't want you out partying till 3 a.m. in the morning, not waking up till 2 p.m. in the afternoon the next day and all of that stuff. And I say that because if I would have known what I know now, or say from 25 to 40, known that at 18 to 25, things would have been different, much different. I do think that the wife and I were very smart, especially once we had our daughter. We're like, okay, we're 20, how old were we? 23, 25. We're like, we're not going to live in an apartment. We're going to have a house. We want to have a yard for our kids, stuff like that. So we went out and bought. But going back to the people that you surround yourself with, you can excel, just like with our partners, James, and our teammates and our employees. When you get out of that single-minded mindset and you bring in other people that are on the verge of greatness or want to take it to that next level, and you start collaborating with them, is when you really take it to the next level. And the train then at that point is at full speed and it cannot get knocked off the rails.
and like again, unless you derail it yourself, like a lot of these banks right now, a lot of these banks right now are derailing themselves. You know what? Even though I don't know exactly what Deutsche Bank is going through right now, but from what I hear is that these guys have had a multitude of lawsuits over the past
Tons.
10, 15 years. But
Longer
one
than
thing,
that. I mean, it's nuts.
well, listen, the one thing that stuck out to me most is that these guys were strip club crazy. And I'm sorry, but if I was 25, 27 years old, making $250,000 a year just from partying and hanging out with my other banker buddies, I would be spending a lot of time at the strip club too. You know, I would be hosting. I would be hosting a lot of my business
James, you
meetings at
can't
the
call it a
strip
business
club too.
meeting every other day, though. Okay, you can't do that, James.
We having a business meeting at the strip club every other day. Listen, they got good wings at strip clubs. It's been a while since I've been to one, but last time I went, the wings are really good. So all I'm saying is that
James, I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been to a strip club. I have not eaten food before at a
you
strip club.
never ate the food at the strip club.
I'm not,
Oh my
I'm not,
goodness!
I don't think it's geared towards a restaurant. It's like I don't go to a steakhouse and eat fish, right? I don't go to a seafood restaurant and eat steak. I go to a strip club. I'm not going to have a salad before my main course. Okay.
Oh my goodness! But listen, these guys, literally, these are the people. These are 25, 30-year-old guys that we're having in control of our money because they went to Yale or they went to Stanford. Like these guys didn't step out of their shell until they got into the corporate world. They might have had their frat parties and stuff like that, but overall, to actually allow a 25, 27-year-old to be in control of my money, man, that is just kind of, it doesn't sit well with me. I knew what I was doing at 25 and 26. I don't know if I could trust another 25 or 26-year-old to be managing my money to that degree. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird to me that we have so many young bankers and so many young banking execs, that are in control of our financial futures when we put our money in the banks like that. So, I mean, come on, these guys had over 700 lawsuits in the last 15 years, and they're one of the biggest banks in the world, like number six, the sixth biggest bank in the world, holding $1.6 trillion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the moment I heard that the CEO or the president retired and they left it to a 25 or 26-year-old, I'm thinking I'm going to take my money and move it at that point,
Yeah. Time to go, maybe possibly go somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I like my money to be managed by someone that got some cobwebs in their background, not somebody that's just fresh off with a fresh coat of paint. Again, I may be wrong. I may be wrong, but that's just kind of how I feel about these banks right now.
James, let's have a little fun.
Yeah.
Which U.S. bank is the first one to go?
Which
Out
U.S.
of
bank?
out of the top ones, which one do you think will be the next one where the conversation will be about this bank is in trouble? I have one in mind just because I've had bad, horrible experience with them.
Wells Fargo?
James, wow, we are eye to eye, brother, eye to eye, my friend. Like
Wells Fargo, bro.
Wells Fargo, 100%. I wrote it down here last night, man. Like 100%. Maybe that's because I'm a little biased. I don't want JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, because I have them, but you know what I'm saying? But like Wells Fargo to me, even when the market was fantastic, like their service and the complaints that I heard
Was crazy.
absolutely crazy. So yeah, our prediction, Wells Fargo.
And not even that. I think they have so many foul practices. They've been caught in so many different scandalous, or a multitude of scandalous practices over the past 10 years. And they're not even a bank. They have the name, but I don't think they have the cultural structure there to actually understand what it takes to live up to a standard. And again, I don't JP Morgan, I mean, there's places like that have they're way bigger, But just like you said, a national bank like Wells Fargo is going to fall because of their practices. First of all, their horrible practices, and they won't be the first one to fall. I mean, we've had big banks fall before, but what happens really? They just change their name. They just change their name. They go from Wells Fargo to Fargo Wells. So I'm just saying, like,
all the research and everything that we did, which I found, which was a very interesting um, fact, that do you know most people, if you ask like who holds most commercial business and all that, people would think like right off the top of the head, like, the big banks do.
right?
80% of our commercial loans are with our smaller independent banks.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I heard that, then I kind of looked into it. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Now I do know when these smaller banks kind of go under, the bigger banks then come and buy
them out,
buy the assets and all that stuff. So there's like an extra blanket of security there. But I was very surprised that 80% of our commercial loans are by the smaller banks.
But did you just tell me UPS bought out somebody?
James, I heard that UPS bought, I guess, Deutsche Bank, right?
Deutsche Bank?
Or a portion of it. I don't know if they bought all of it or if they bought
like,
a certain amount of assets or something like that. But yeah.
Wow. So are we looking at them to actually, or is it an actual bank run that's going to happen with this bank as well? Or are we just thinking about they just need some help? I mean, because I know the government's going to buy help a bailout. Government, they're too big to fail. They're considered one of those banks that are too big to fail. So I'm pretty sure the government is going to bail them out. We had this conversation last week, Daniel. We're not even on the board.
They bailed out the car dealerships, right? And the car industry. Why aren't they going to bail out the banks? Otherwise, James, American dollar really is going to be in the tank, right?
Right.
But, I mean, I think if we go back to what we were talking about with Wells Fargo and stuff like that, I think the structure that you have inside your organization is what is going to make you or break you.
I agree. The culture inside of, what was it, Silvergate, the culture inside SVB, the culture that was inside of Deutsche has been a little toxic. Again, you got younger kids running these banks now, just fresh out of college. The nepotism is real. The grandchild of the former bank president is now the CEO, the VP. Things are just being handed down. People don't actually have to work hard anymore to get in these positions, which again, I'm not against that, because if my daughter was in the position to take over something that I give her that opportunity, but I've been grooming her. If I've been grooming her since the age of 5 to be in this position, I wouldn't mind that. But I think now we are having a lot of tech savvy kids who come in with some creative ideas, but no one is actually vetting these ideas. Just like Sam Bankman-Fried, he created this FTX structure that was going to garner the change in the world, and so many rich people who just didn't care. They were just trying to ride a wave of something experimental, and hey, this is going to be the next wave in the world. Let me dump $100 million into it. And they praised this guy as if he was the next Einstein. They gave him, so much power for no reason. And he was 24 years old. Like, either that was a coup, it was a coup to move some money around, or people are just that, I can't use the word I want to use, but just that asinine, at this point where they can't see nothing other than, I want to be a part.
James, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it in that industry anymore. But I would say that he could probably write a book on salesmanship, because he had to do a pretty damn good job of selling himself to get that kind of money with people, right?
I don't even think, but this is the thing, like, I don't even think it was that, because they were saying he was making multi-million-dollar deals while he was sitting at home playing Fortnite. Like, come on. Like, my thing is, I think at some point, people need to move money. People need to get some of these lump sums of money moving. And the best way to do is find an asset that they know is a little fraudulent and just put it there so they can write it off as a loss, or move it some more. So, it's no different in Swiss banks. It's no different in Swiss banks. People have been using Switzerland to move illegal money for years. So for me, again, I think a lot of these plays, a lot of these ploys be bigger than we actually know because we're not even on the board. We don't have enough finances to even understand the type of moves that are being made in these type of situations. Again, that's just my personal opinion. But when it comes down to it, Daniel, I think it's something bigger that's always in play. And
Yep.
you have to keep your eyes open for the right entry and the opportunity to make things happen. So buy your silver, buy your gold, because if you don't keep those things tangibly at hand, you're going to fail. You are going to lose out and miss out on the opportunity. Real quick, I know you got something else to say, but the BRICS, again, I'm gonna keep saying this: the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and South Africa, and they're adding, trust me, over 16 more other countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan. China just negotiated a deal between, I think it's Pakistan and um, one of those other stands. They just negotiated a deal to put an embassy in each one of those, like not their embassy, but they was able to swap embassies. Pakistan can put one in Afghanistan now, and Afghanistan can put one in. This has never been done. These people have always been brutal enemies, but China has came in and brokered that deal. We again, as Americans, have to stop being the bullies, thinking that we're on top and constantly being hypocrites to our own demise, and we actually need to focus on getting gold and silver back into our country. We need to start getting gold and silver back into the hands of our American people.
I love it, James. I cannot agree more with you. Right, like we need to stop being naive and self-centered, and and really start opening our minds and start thinking again about the future. We tell our kids this, our parents tell us this, our grandparents tell our parents this, and then they tell it to us. Right, like it's time to open our minds. It's time to reset and refocus, right? Before it is way too late and then it is not possible, right? I know we're coming to an end here. I want to just say out there to any potential buyers, whether you're in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever it is, if you see an open door home and you want it, you better call us. You better call before you call them. You call your local realtor, your local broker. You call them.
Because
and those that know. Those that don't.
listen, and I agree with you totally, because you do not miss out on your opportunity to deal. Do not
Yes.
miss out on your opportunity to deal in this buyer's market, because right now, Open Door and Redfin, I'm doing a Redfin deal I've been working on. Redfin, I just got a call from the Redfin agent 3 days ago and told me they have to get this deal to close because they have officially shut down their iBuyers program at Redfin. Zillow officially shut down their iBuyers program. There's no more iBuyer programs out there like there were. Institutional buyers are not moving out of the market. They're just understanding going through those places like Redfin and Zillow is not the key. What we're going to do is just become the iBuyers ourselves, and we're going to just constantly make better deals that suits us versus get cutting Zillow and Redfin in on this deal that's causing them to lose money at the end of the day. So listen, like Daniel said, call your local realtor if you're looking to buy it. It's still a great time to purchase in America. If you don't think so, then wait till the interest rates go up to 11 and 15% and watch how you can watch how you can't afford anything then. If you think now is the wrong time to buy, then wait till the interest rates get up to 11 and 15%. And don't say no one didn't tell you, because you're missing out on opportunities, and you're going to continue to miss out on those opportunities if you don't make a move.
If interest rates go to 11-15%, does that mean that my rents go up to like $3,000 a month?
So guess what? So if you want to continue to be a renter, just know people like me and Daniel aren't going to feel sorry for you when you come and ask us, can you rent our property for $3,000 a month, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house for $3,000 a month? I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. I can't. We've been telling you, get off your hands, get on your feet, and go purchase you some property. Purchase you a piece of land. Put a tent on it until you can't afford to build on it. I don't care. Purchase you some real estate. All right. Other than that, anything else you want to add, Daniel?
Nah, it's all good, man. Last Monday of the month, make it count. And I'm out, man. Got a busy week.
Listen, y'all have a great one. Again, it was a great show. I always appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell if you haven't already. And drop a comment in the comment section once the show is over. Let us know what you think. Hey, again, I enjoyed. Always appreciate you all. And listen, have a great week.